In this problem, we're going to find the equation of a line that passes through the given points. Okay, so there's two formulas that you need to be aware of to solve this problem. First, the slope formula, which we call m. Okay, so m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so that's the slope formula, and we'll label these here. So we can label as x1 and y1, and then x2 and y2. Now, you don't have to label them in this order. We could have named these the x1 and y1, and these the x2 and y2, but what you can't do is mix and match, right? You can't have x1 and a y2 here, or an x2 and a y1 here. That you can't do. But whichever point you decide to use for the 1 and the 2 doesn't matter. Okay, and the other formula that you need to know is basically just a derivation of the slope formula. You move this x2, x1 over here. Okay, so that's how it comes up with the formula, and we're going to call that y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now, I labeled it a little differently because we're going to use it a little differently, but this is where that formula came from. Okay, so the point slope formula. All right, so for our first problem, we first want to find the slope. Okay, so find the slope, and we plug in the number. So y2 minus y1, so that's 3 minus a negative 6. Okay, the minus here, but this is also negative. Divided by x2 minus x1 would be negative 1 minus 5. Okay, now keep in mind when you have a negative and another negative here, that's going to be turned into a positive, so that's going to be 3 plus 6. And then on bottom, a negative and another negative that are combining here, those will stay negative. So negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. Okay, so these two are multiplying. That's the reason it becomes positive. These are just subtracting. All right, so you get what, 9 over negative 6. We can reduce that. So m is equal to, divided top and bottom by 3 over 2, and that's negative 3 over 2. Okay, so there's our slope. Okay, now we've used the first formula. Now we're going to use this point slope formula here, and we're going to choose one of these, and it doesn't matter which, to put in for y1 and x1. Since I already labeled these x1 and y1, I'm going to go ahead and use that, but you could use this and you'll come up with the same answer. It doesn't matter which one you choose. So let's use the 5 and negative 6. So I will, in place of y1, I'll put the y1, so that's negative 6, so minus a negative 6, equals our m, which is negative 3 over 2, we just found that, times x minus, what's my x1? 5. Okay, now that's the equation of the line, but we do need to simplify it. We need to solve it for y. So negative times a negative is positive, so that's y plus 6. Let's go ahead and distribute this 3 over 2 to both of these. So that gives you negative 3 over 2x, and then a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so that's going to be plus, let's see, 15 over 2. Just multiply the top times the 5, so 15 over 2. Okay, and now we will solve for y, so we'll subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, so it's y is equal to negative 3 over 2x. Now we need to do that part right there. So we need a common denominator, 15 over 2 minus 6. We need to put it over 2. So 6 is the same thing as 12 over 2. Common denominator there. Okay, so we've got the common denominator now. So 15 minus 12 is 3. So we get 3 over 2. So plus 3 over 2. And this is the equation of your line that passes through those 2 points. Okay, let's do another one. So for this one, we have negative 2 comma negative 3, and we have 4 comma negative 1. Okay, so I can label these as x1, y1, x2, y2 how I want. So this time I'll do this one just to change it up a little bit and show you that it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'll do this one as the x1, y1, and this one as the x2, y2. Okay, so recall that our slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so our slope is going to be equal to, let's see, -3 minus a -1 divided by, let's see, -2 minus 4. Okay, so that gives us -3 plus 1, negative times a negative here. And then on the bottom, -2 and -4 make a -6. So m is equal to, let's see, -2 over -6, which is 1/3. Okay, so m is equal to 1/3. That's our slope. Okay, and then we're going to use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so we'll use these. So y minus y1 is -1 equals m, which is here, 1/3. And then times x minus our x1 is 4. Okay, remember a negative times a negative is a positive, so this becomes y plus 1 is equal to, let's distribute 1/3 x when I distribute it to the x, and then when I distribute it to the -4, it becomes -4/3. Multiply it by the top there. Okay. So finally, solve for y. Subtract the 1 from both sides. You get y is equal to 1/3 x. And let's figure this out here. So -4/3. We need to put the -1 in terms of a 3 in the denominator. So that will be -3/3, right? Because 3 divided by 3 is 1. And here's the negative. So now that we have a common denominator, -4 minus 3, they're both negative. So you combine them because you're subtracting. So that'd be -7/3. This is your answer.